Alrighty, all. Hello and welcome back. Going to want to hold on to your wallet, perhaps, for this one because we're taking a look at a wide variety of costs between a good amount of countries and, of course, the good old USA. Now, the reason I do this is because, it's been a while since we looked at this type of thing just in general, but also because I hear a lot and I see a lot out there in comment sections and online about how people love to say that, remember, the U.S. is so much better with money, person to person than in other countries, right? They love to say we have more buying power and stuff like this, right? Now, there's no doubt that you can make a pretty good living in certain industries in the U.S., but unfortunately, costs have just crept up and up and up, especially in the last 5 or 6 years. It's kind of crazy when you compare receipts from 2019 versus 2023, 24, 25. It's insane. Not to mention taxes. U.S. patriots love to say that we pay, no taxes compared to anyone else, and that's just laughably not true. Take it from me, I pay over 30% in taxes for what I do, and that's pretty much what I would pay in European countries or a little more maybe, but you get a lot back, and I don't get anything back for that in the U.S. So all the other costs that I have to foot the bill myself that my taxes do not pay for, trust me, it adds up a lot. Pair that with the cost of housing, the cost of living, the cost of new cars, throw anything you want in there, and it's kind of a circus around here. So I want to see how it kind of compares to some other big countries, see what we can learn from it, and see if we're just maybe getting ripped off here in the U.S. All right, starting off with one of the big topics where you could choose this or avoid it, at least in the U.S. when it comes to cost. The cost of your education, especially when you get to college or university.
You were just accepted to XYZ University, but before you begin, let's go over a couple of things first. Namely that tuition is $50,000. Oh my God, that's a lot of money. I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
You'll also have to live
a year.
in university dorms, which is $9,000 per semester. And there's also a university meal plan, which is $6,000 per semester. Can I just skip the meal plan part? I feel like it would save money. No, it's required. And you also don't have a kitchen in your dorm anyway, so how would you cook for yourself? I don't know how I'm going to pay for all of this. That's what financial aid is for, but it probably won't cover everything. So you'll still take out a loan for between $40,000 and $60,000. That's a really big loan. Maybe I'll just take a part-time job. Great idea. You're welcome to get a part-time job, but just don't work too hard because if your grades start slipping, we'll also take your scholarships away from you. And if you don't make payments on tuition, we'll also make it so you can't sign up for classes. And if you've already graduated, we won't give you your diploma. Thanks. I'll keep that in mind.
Hi, you're 18 or 19 and you are hearing all this. Welcome to the United States. Enjoy your education. Yeah, this is a huge deal, and it's not an exaggeration either. I mean, it could be. I mean, you could probably save on costs a little bit here, but there is grants out there, if you qualify for it. And of course, there's different schools, different prices, but in general, it's way too expensive for what it is. And it's become a big topic here. It is, feels almost a little controversial to say, like, you know what, screw college, I'm not going. But some people really think like that. It worked out for me. It works out for other people. It doesn't work out for others as well. But then again, some people go to university, they go into a pretty good amount of debt, and it doesn't work out either. They end up working a normal job and being stuck with a huge looming student loan over their head that they have to pay for the next couple decades. It's just a big deal here, and I think it's really broken for sure. Let's see how it is in France.
For you to start paying us. Start classes. Tuition's 170 euros. Is that
oh my
real?
God.
Is this too much? It's okay. Don't worry. We have financial aid. Don't have to pay nothing.
Financial aid for that?
Up to 700 euros every month, and you can eat on campus at a cafeteria for €1 per meal. Did you just say I'd be paid to go to school? Of course. You are a student. How else can you afford to go to school? Congratulations.
And see, now, and this is, I'm talking in generals, but this all is related. So just hear me out. In the U.S., it depends on your job and field and how much you make and all this stuff. But especially if you're self-employed, unless you're one of those business owners, like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or something, unless you're making into the billions and billions and somehow they barely pay any taxes. I'm sure you've heard of this. unless, if you're a regular person and you make some money, especially not working for a big corporation, like I said, any sort of self-employment, you just get nailed. You get nailed on taxes in the U.S. And that's what's funny. We do pay taxes. I pay 30+%. I don't know what it comes out to exactly, but it's around 31, 32, something like that. And I just get nothing back for it. I still have to foot the bill for medical insurance, medical cases if I use it. Sometimes it's not covered. We've been through that, yada, yada, yada. I'm not even going to go through all the stuff. You know how life costs a lot. You have to pay for this, pay for that, pay for insurance, pay for blah, blah, blah. You have to pay for education, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Now, if you're in France or you're in any European country and the Americans, I always hear like, oh, they pay so much in taxes. Well, if you're paying 30, 35%, 38%, 40%, hell, 45% in taxes. Yeah, I get it. It doesn't sound great. Like, no one likes to just give money away. I understand that. I wouldn't be initially thrilled about paying 40% taxes somewhere else. But then when you find out everything, it goes to something and you can see it come to fruition and you can see, well, as a matter of fact, you can never see, that's what it should be. You never see big student loan bills. You never see huge medical debt bills, right? I mean, it just kind of adds up. And it's like, okay, I kind of don't have a problem with paying taxes if it gets a lot back to you, right? If it helps really improve the quality of your life. And that's kind of the goal, right? No one likes paying taxes, but if it helps your quality of life, that's kind of the point of what they exist for. It feels like in the U.S. you pay more taxes than people like to lead on. And it feels like you get nothing back for it. I love comments like these because they're very accurate. The United States of America, where education, health, and safety are all profitable businesses. Education is a business first and foremost in the USA. In the EU, education is almost a birthright. You can see the difference. And of course, with the U.S., that $60,000 loan will turn into $100,000 with interest. And that's the raw truth people don't want to face, or some people even forget about. Pretty scary.
How much do I spend on the same breakfast staples in the U.S. versus Germany?
Cool.
In Germany, eggs are not refrigerated, and a standard pack comes with 10. Orange juice, of course, and bread essential. Most grocery stores have a full bakery, and they even have bread slicers. But I usually grab a couple of fresh rolls.
That's pretty.
And of course,
that is
bacon.
super cheap.
Though it's a lot thinner and less comes in a single pack than I'm used
Looks
to
good,
in the States. Now, in the U.S., I find eggs in the fridge and by the dozen. Orange juice is a must, especially since I'm in Florida. I'll grab a full loaf of bread and that thick-cut bacon I know and love.
Ugh, look at the
How do
bread.
these prices compare to breakfast staples where you live?
Oh, look
How
at the
much do I spend on the
difference.
same compared to breakfast?
Okay, first of all, look at the difference in bread, right? I mean, every European watching this is laughing. Honestly, everyone watching from anywhere outside the U.S. is probably laughing because it's hard to find. Like, yes, you can find fresh bread here. It's just a lot harder to find. It's not available at like a lot of regular supermarkets, especially not in the fashion it is in European countries, right? In Germany, there's so many spots within walking distance, I'm sure, if you live in any sort of town or city, where you can find fresh, very clean, very real bread. And it's really cheap, right? Or really affordable, let's say. In the U.S., you get this, I hate to say it, but in comparison, kind of like garbage, at least in quality, right? And freshness and all that jazz. And it's ironically more expensive. And you could probably say this for all of this, even the orange juice, even the meat, the eggs. You're more likely to find weird ingredients, less than satisfactory ingredients, fake ingredients, chemicals, blah, blah, blah. You're going to find that more often than not in the U.S. stuff down here versus this miniature haul in Germany, right? Of course, the comments support this. You left out the part where German bread is so much better than American bread. Who could disagree with that? I mean, just look at the difference. €3 for orange juice in Germany, that's a crime. That brand is super fancy. So they're even saying that's expensive. And yet it's much cheaper than ours. And your bread in Germany has less sugar, no preservatives. Bacon, too, has less chemicals. And overall food is better and cheaper in most European countries. That definitely seems to be the case.
In Greece, you see how we're eating? Like kings. In
Holy
America,
crap,
if I
that
eat like
looks
this,
good.
$500. $500 dinner. Εδώ πέρα, 40 ευρώ. 40 euros.
That's only €40? Damn, that does sound really affordable.
If I eat like this,
I don't know if this would be $500 in the U.S., but it would definitely be more expensive, no doubt about it. Right? And I know people are going to be like, cost of living is different and salaries, pay is different. Of course. You have to understand, though, it's crazy that when you hear so much greatness, right, about one country, and then you find out like other countries that are pretty cool, it's like way cheaper. It's just kind of mind-blowing. I understand you can make more money in the U.S., no doubt about it, but you also have to understand, why does this stuff have to be so expensive in the U.S., right? And we all know it comes down to supply and demand, corporate greed, all this jazz. The problem I have is you get to learn that food is a lot more affordable in Greece, and at the same time, the food standards are a lot better in Greece. And the food, right? I mean, I'm sure this stuff is delicious, right? I've never really heard someone say they went to Greece and everything was gross. Like, I've never heard that. I feel like it's a lot easier to find really good food. And here in the U.S., of course, you can find great food. It's just a lot harder. There's a lot of slop and kind of crappy chemical stuff in the way, if that makes sense. At least this is how I kind of see it. Everyone's experience is different. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Culture shock of the price difference of clothes in the U.S. after being in Europe. I wonder where in Europe. We got to love that. That could vary greatly, but okay, somewhere in Europe, probably Western Europe. That's just guess. They're showing prices of random clothes. I can't tell what store they're in. I don't really know, but like, I mean, a lot of clothes are pretty expensive here. $248 for this, like, whoa. Like, clothes are expensive here. You can find good deals, and that's what you honestly should do, because, like, if you bought stuff like this all the time, it's just like, whoa, unless you're a millionaire, like, this is ridiculously expensive stuff. Oh, actually, almost makes me laugh. I've never spent this much on clothes in my life. Just saying. Yeah, I get it. I'm assuming they found nice or better clothes in wherever they went in Europe, and it was cheaper than this. I don't doubt that for a second. But you can find, I wear clothes in my videos, right? Like, I still buy clothes. Everyone buys clothes, but I just don't spend a lot. The shirt I'm wearing, I think this exact shirt I got online, and it was, I don't know, maybe $17 US, $18 US, something like that. I try to get, a lot of my clothes for reasonable prices. I don't think I own a piece of clothing that was $200 or more. That's just not for me. I don't know. This one ought to be good. Of course, it has music, but cost of breaking a bone, wherever that in Europe, around $350. So whatever it was in euros, it converts to $350. Okay, sounds amazing. I mean, breaking a bone's a big deal, not fun. There you go. Clown emoji. Gotta love it. $25,000 US. Yeah. People are actually showing in the comments a lot of times you don't pay at all in most countries. So even the $350 was a little expensive, which is kind of crazy. And then, of course, people pointed out, well, your insurance will, cover that in the US. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, a lot of times there'll be little things they'll nickel and dime that they don't cover, right? Like, it's just not that easy. Like, everyone acts like, well, you have insurance, they'll cover it. They don't, though. They make it a pain in the ass. There are a lot of times where you can get screwed even by your insurance here. It's just like the healthcare system here is so broken. We've heard this, right? We're going to keep hearing it because it is. I don't know why people don't rise up against that shit here. It is broken. And even if you have insurance, they can still screw you. And let's say the insurance covers every dime of it. Okay, wonderful. I mean, they should, right? Isn't that the point? But here's the funny part. Unlike the other countries, you're paying a crap load for that insurance here. You're paying $800 a month, $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month. Maybe you're lucky and you only pay $300 or $400 a month. We're still talking about our car payment per month just to have insurance. And here's the funny part. I said it pays for all of it. Yeah, no, I've actually never heard of that. You're paying the car payment or 2 car payments a month, and you still have to pay a deductible. You're asking, what's that? Well, you pay your insurance. And then the insurance says, yeah, we'll cover it. But remember, you have to pay your deductible to use it. So to use that insurance, even though you've been paying all the time, every month, Now you have to pay your $7,000, $8,000, maybe if you're lucky, $4,000 or $5,000 deductible. That's right. You owe us $5,000. We'll cover the rest. How nice. That's how I see it. I think it's just funny. Like, it is a clown show, the U.S. stuff, when it comes to medical coverage. It's just my opinion, but it's very frustrating, especially when you see in other countries that this would be basically zero. Yeah, you pay it in the taxes, but so do I. Part of my taxes goes to Medicare that I don't qualify for here in the U.S. So I still pay taxes for Medicare. I just can't use it, where in other countries, you could.
Honestly, this is like so shocking. And this is why your money goes farther here in the UK/Europe than in the US.
This is interesting. We always look at kind of regular things and regular cost of living things, but let's say even hobbies, right? Even things that you don't need, but, you know, sports and hobbies and touristy things, right? Still costs money. What if you do want to splurge? You want to go skiing, right? It's not a need. But even this is going to be different prices. See, this is crazy. I'd like to see.
I'm going skiing next week in Val d'Isere, and I was looking at the ski pass prices, which is like 63 euros for one day for an adult, 53 for a child.
I actually don't know what it is in the U.S. because I never go skiing.
Also, our ski rentals are like 120 for the entire week. We're going for like 6 days of skiing. So for 6 days of skiing, which is like basically a week, it's going to be 370 euros.
Sounds reasonable.
Pass, and it's going to be 120 for the ski rentals. Still not like super cheap, right?
No.
So plus accommodation. Last year we went to Verbier and we spent about like 500 euros for the entire week per person for this massive house. This year we're splurging a little bit more, so it's like 600. So for an entire week of skiing in the Alps in like one of the nicest towns in France, Val d'Isere, it's going to be about like 1,000 for the entire week without food.
So, and keep in mind, this is inexpensive, you know, luxury, right? Not something you need, not something like, whoa, that's crazy. I understand. But for people that want to splurge and have some sort of a vacation, in this case, a skiing vacation, with a place that's presumably pretty nice, right? It's not like they're totally saving money everywhere they can. They're splurging a little bit. But it's still interesting to see if it's going to be different in the U.S. versus, in this case, France.
Or drinks. Now, I want to show you what it costs to ski in Colorado.
Here in the U.S.
Let's look at like an average resort like Breckenridge.
Okay, so not even full on.
So there's very fancy resorts in the U.S. like Vail or like Park City.
Of course,
or like
Vail would be
Sun
off
Valley,
the charts expensive.
But this is like a very average one. It's where normal people go to ski. Let's see how much it is. I'm sorry?
Oh, shit.
$500 for 2 days. Literally $600. Even the beginner skis are $400. And don't even get me started on like the accommodation and food. Honestly, this is why things in the US are so inaccessible to most of the middle class and like people who are not extremely rich. If you go skiing in the US and go to an average mountain, you'll notice that many more people are not good skiers. And it's because it's so inaccessible.
Because they never get to practice.
But it's honestly not just skiing. It's like a lot of things are like this in the US.
Jeez.
Hotels are so expensive. Experiences are so expensive. Restaurants are so expensive. I had a terrible veggie burger on the mountain in Tahoe and it was $25. Can someone explain why this is like this? Because when you look at it like this, you realize that your salary in the US, even though it's higher, doesn't go as far as it does here.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. Everyone likes to bring up, well, the US, you make more, the salary's higher. The salary is higher usually. Yes, it just doesn't go as far. It gets frustrating real quick. That salary gets vacuumed away extremely quick if you're not careful. It's really concerning. Jesus, I'm from Europe and still consider skiing a rich person thing, so the U.S. must be crazy. I mean, yeah, that price difference is unbelievable. It did sound pricey, like a luxury in France. But when you look at the cost difference, the whole week in France was like 2 days in the U.S. That's why I've never been skiing. I'm not a rich millionaire, so I don't have the time nor the funds to just be throwing at skiing all the time. I mean, that is insane here in the U.S. My God, I don't know how anyone does it. This comment is really real, though, right? This is something we might have used to have 30, 40 years ago, and it just has disappeared, especially in the last 10 years in the U.S., and that's this comment: no middle class in the U.S. Europe has a solid middle class and plenty of vacation time to enjoy life. That's really it. I mean, that is the most concise to the point kind of way you can put this. And that's kind of what this whole, video I'm making here kind of points out. Let's see some hygiene products, Germany versus USA. All these are very cheap. I mean, under €1 almost for all these in Germany. Wow, they show USA really quick there. I actually don't know if they showed any US, because I think this is still Germany. Yeah, I believe these are all Germany still. But so these are all like relatively inexpensive. And, I don't know all these products, but like toothpaste and stuff, a lot of this deodorant's gotten really expensive. That's one I noticed in just the past 5 years. I used to pay, I don't think I have one in here. Yeah, I don't have one in here, but let's pretend I'm holding just a stick of Old Spice deodorant, right? One of those, lasts like, I don't know, a few weeks, maybe a month at the most. That used to cost, a few years ago, maybe like $4 or $5. And now just that one stick of deodorant is like 10 or 11 at most stores. It's kind of crazy. And this isn't over the course of 20 years. This is over the course of like 4 or 5. So it seems like quite a lot of jump in a very little time. And I'm seeing that stuff is a lot cheaper. I mean, we're talking about €1 here, basically, for the same thing, it sounds like, in Germany. What's funny is the prices you see here also include the taxes. So that's the real price, right? When it says 99 cents or, just €1, it is really €1. It'll say $7.99 for the deodorant or $8.99 or whatever in the US, but then it actually costs quite a bit more when you get up to the register, because then they add in the taxes.
Medicine more expensive than medicine in the UK?
I would like to know.
Top 5. At number 5, we have Harvoni, which is a medication used to treat hepatitis C. 21 tablets in the UK is just shy of £10,000. Pretty hefty price. But in the United States, 21
crazy.
tablets is over $30,000.
Holy
At number
crap.
4, we have Firazyr. This is an injection medication used to treat angioedema. For 2 syringes in the UK, it's only less than £3,000. In the United States, those same 2 syringes are over $30,000.
Jeez.
At number 3, we have Cinryze. This is another injection for treating angioedema.
This is worse than I thought.
Our friends across the pond do charge a hefty £26,000 for 20 vials. But in the United States, we got them beat. For 20 vials, it's over $40,000.
Oh my God.
Number 2 on the list is one of the most infamous medications, Daraprim.
Jeez.
This is a medication used to treat toxoplasmosis, which is an AIDS-defining illness. Daraprim nestled its way to the forefront of American media back in 2015 when owner Martin Shkreli bought the patent and exclusive rights to the medication and increased the price by a lot. Currently in the United States, 6 tablets will cost you just shy of $2,000. Back in 2015, when all of this price gouging was happening, those same 6 tablets would have been over $4,000.
Jeez.
Martin Shkreli, the CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals, was later arrested that year. But people often forget he was arrested for securities fraud, not because he increased the price so much of a medication that people needed. It's worth noting,
Gotta love the
I'm
US.
sure that was considered in his sentencing, though. In the UK,
Big
those
Pharma
same
can just do no wrong here. You can just do no wrong. You're immune from responsibility if you're in Big Pharma here.
6 tablets
Gotta love it.
cost a whopping £6.
Wow.
And at number 1, the biggest difference between American and UK medicine is Actimune. In the UK, 12 vials is $5,400. You might want to sit down for this. In the United States,
I want to know?
those same vials are $52,000.
Holy crap.
Is American medicine more expensive than medicine in the UK? Let's take a look at the top 5.
This is crazy. This is like some good numbers here. And right away, someone's going to be like, well, pounds and dollars are worth different things. Yeah. If you convert these to the same currency, trust me, the U.S. one's going to come out ahead. It doesn't matter that he's showing pounds and dollars. If we convert this 6 pounds to dollars, it's not going to be $1,800. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. This is absolutely insane. Actually, the funny part is when you look at the comments, you see the price difference. And actually, when you go to the comments, it's even kind of funnier than that. Because just to emphasize, the people that need these meds in the UK do not pay. If it's an NHS hospital, not private care. These may be the prices the NHL, the NHL, what the hell? The NHS itself spends to access the products. That's the funny part, right? This is back to what we were talking about earlier. At least you know when you pay your taxes in the UK that the NHS is there and you're covered, right? Like I don't understand why it's such a hard concept for some fellow Americans. Look at the price of this crap. It's insane. Price gouging, manipulating markets, cost of living, inflation, all these crazy things are just through the roof here, man. Price gouging is a big problem. It happens in so many different industries too. And I think it's really gotten a lot worse in, again, this immediate past, like just the past 5 or 10 years. There's been so much crazy stuff going on. In the US, healthcare is an industry. In Europe, it's a service for those who need it.
So we are being lied to in America. All of these groceries we just got today.
That's kind of a lot.
Including
a lot of groceries.
Veggies, rice, potatoes, face cream, eye cream, veggies, chicken, potatoes, coffee, tea. We got all of this for
good haul.
Only 56 British pounds, which is about 75 USD.
That's amazing.
This would have cost $150 to $200 in America.
I'm glad he actually said that. I was going to say my guess would be around 180, 170 where I live. This is a good amount of stuff, but yet, again, 10 years ago, this would maybe have cost around $80 or $90, but now easily 180, maybe even 200 if you're a little pricier store or beyond. It is crazy. And, it's funny because we all know there's different costs in European countries. From what I understand, the UK is one of the more expensive places in Europe. And this is still nothing compared to the US prices. It's crazy to me. And arguably, you're going to have some better choices. You're going to have easier access to local options in all these countries versus here. It's just, yes, you can get more organic and better, local stuff in the US too, just like anywhere else. It's just harder to access for some reason than it is for a lot of other places. It's very bizarre. You see the comments, $200 easy in the US and poor quality. Nailed it. I'm actually going to cut it there. There's like easily at least 6 or 7 more videos I was going to show here. But honestly, I think we got the point. It drove home some interesting, variety of countries and things, even from basic costs, rights, healthcare, groceries. We covered simple things like bread and produce all the way up to rich hobbies like skiing. All of it turns out to be usually a lot more expensive in the US, which I think is just kind of wild, and kind of solidifies how a lot of Americans feel in the last few years, that just their money just disappears, and that the cost of living and simple things, expensive things, everything just feels expensive when it didn't used to feel like that necessarily earlier in our lives. I don't know. It's a very weird feeling. I know cost of living and inflation is different everywhere and has hit a lot of places, especially since, the 2020s have been a very bizarre and hectic decade. But it just seems like here in the U.S., it is a circus. It really is. I know certain things are cheaper here. Gasoline, fuel is, I guess, usually cheaper here in the U.S. So I guess we can claim that. We can hold on to that. Past that, I can't think of anything else really. So should be a good one for comments. I mean, maybe you have examples that kind of are similar to what we saw here. Maybe you have examples that are different. Maybe your experience was a lot better in the U.S. versus somewhere else. I would really love to hear it, whether it's similar viewpoint or complete opposite. I'm game for all of it. I do appreciate you watching. At the end of the day, I hope to see you in another video. It's going to be it for this one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.